There are no words in this story, yet it speaks to everyone. Raymond Briggs's The Snowman is a wordless picture book that tells one of the most emotionally resonant stories of childhood. Through images alone, it follows a young boy who builds a snowman, spends a magical night with him, and wakes up to face an irreversible loss. On a snowy day, the boy carefully builds a snowman. That night, the snowman comes to life, and together they leave the house and fly across the night sky. Their journey is filled with wonder, freedom, and joy, the purest form of imagination. Silence as emotional language. There is no dialogue, narration, or explanation. Instead, the story relies entirely on facial expressions, movement, and visual rhythm. This silence invites readers to project their own emotions into the story, making it deeply personal. A perfect, fleeting night. The boy and the snowman share a flawless moment. No conflict, no fear, no tension. It mirrors childhood itself, magical, complete, and unknowingly temporary. Mourning and loss. When morning arrives, the snowman has melted. The boy does not cry or speak. The loss is quiet, unexplainable, and final, just like many of life's earliest heartbreaks. The beginning of growth. The snowman is not about tragedy, but about acceptance. The boy loses the snowman, but gains an understanding. Some moments exist only once, and that is what makes them precious. Briggs shows that certain lessons, impermanence, loss, memory, cannot be taught with words. They must be felt. Next, we'll explore how this silent story captures universal human experiences and why it continues to resonate across generations.
For so many of us, it's just the purest, most silent embodiment of Christmas magic. You know, that gentle flight through the air, the soft pencil strokes, that quiet, perfect friendship between a boy and a snowman. It's a story that really feels like a warm hug on a cold winter's night. But what if I told you that the man who created all of that, Raymond Briggs, felt, well, pretty much the exact opposite about the holiday he helped define? It's a really jarring contrast, isn't it? This cozy, beloved classic on one hand, and the creator's ice-cold take on Christmas on the other.
And that is the fascinating paradox we're going to unpack. The story behind this story is one of profound loss, working-class grit, and a surprisingly unsentimental view of life and of death.
To really understand the snowman, you first have to understand the man who drew him. And Raymond Briggs, well, he was a masterpiece of contradictions. And he was not kidding. Briggs leaned into this persona his whole life. He really distrusted enthusiasm, he scoffed at optimism, and he even famously called himself a miserable git on a children's TV show. It was just such a stark contrast to the gentle world he was so famous for creating. But you know, this grumpiness, it wasn't just an act. To really get it, you have to see where it came from. His life, his politics, and his deepest, most personal experiences.
You can actually see his whole worldview in action long before the snowman. Just take his version of Father Christmas. This was not some jolly saint from the North Pole. Nope. He was a working-class fella who complained about the blooming cold, lived in a regular old house, and saw his job as just a grueling, thankless grind.
And that grumpy Father Christmas was based directly on his own father, Ernest, who was a milkman. Briggs's art was really a tribute to his parents and their quiet working-class dignity. He saw the world through their eyes, and he focused on the reality of labor, not some magical fantasy.
And behind all of this was just a profound sense of loss. I mean, look at this short span of time. In 1971, both of his parents died, just months apart from each other. Then, only 2 years later, in 1973, his wife Jean died of leukemia. This period of intense, almost unbelievable grief, it completely shaped his entire creative philosophy.
Okay, so all of this context is baked right into the original 1978 book, and I'm telling you, it is probably not the story you think you know. It was actually created as an artistic reaction. His previous book, Fungus the Bogeyman, was a deep dive into everything grimy and gross. So afterwards, Briggs wanted a total palate cleanser, something ethereal, something quiet. The result was a wordless picture book that completely revolutionized the medium in Britain. And here it is. This is the biggest surprise. The original book has absolutely no mention of Christmas. None. There's no trip to the North Pole, there's no party with other snowmen, and there is definitely no Santa Claus. It's simply a winter story about a temporary friendship. All the Christmas stuff, that was added later for television.
Briggs's artistic choice of using soft pencil crayons was so deliberate. He felt that ink would be way too harsh. The crayon gives the art this hazy, dreamlike quality. It makes the snowman himself look soft and vulnerable, which is really a visual metaphor for his temporary, fragile existence.
So, if the book wasn't even about Christmas, how did it become this absolute holiday staple? Well, that all happened in 1982, with the launch of a new TV station in the UK.
So this brand new Channel 4 commissioned an animated adaptation, and to fill a 26-minute TV slot and make it a real festive event, the producers added that iconic flight to the North Pole to meet Father Christmas. This single change is what transformed the snowman from a quiet winter tale into a global Christmas phenomenon.
Of course, the film also gave us that iconic song, Walking in the Air, and one of pop culture's most enduring mix-ups. The singer in the original 1982 film was not Ala Jones. It was a 13-year-old choir boy named Peter Audie, who was actually and accidentally left off the credits.
The version that everyone thinks they know was recorded by Ala Jones 3 years later in 1985 for a TV commercial. That single shot to number 5 in the UK charts, and his name became permanently, if incorrectly, linked with the film forever. From there, it just became a cultural juggernaut. We're talking postage stamps, commemorative coins, a sequel, and a stage show that has run for over 25 years in London, not to mention tours in Japan and Korea. It's huge. But all that commercial success feels a little disconnected from the quiet, melancholy heart of the original story, right? So what is the real message of the snowman? The answer, well, it comes from the man himself. As Briggs explained it, he wasn't trying to be morbid or depressing. For him, the melting of the snowman was as natural and inevitable as flowers wilting or his own parents passing away. The ending isn't supposed to be a tragedy. It's simply a truth. And that's the real magic here. The story resonates so deeply because it doesn't shy away from loss. The joy of the flight, the magic of that night, it's all made more precious because we know it can't last. It's a beautiful, gentle lesson that prepares us for the bittersweet reality that all things, even magical friendships, have to come to an end. So the next time you watch that boy discover the melted pile of snow with the hat and the scarf, maybe you won't see it as just a sad ending. Perhaps you'll see it for what Briggs intended all along, a quiet celebration of a beautiful moment that was perfect precisely because it was never meant to last forever.